K9 and Company, A Girl's Best Friend, the one-episode television pilot, is written by Terence Dudley and starring Elizabeth Sladen and John Leeson. So John Nathan Turner wanted to get Elizabeth Sladen back as Sarah Jane for Tom Baker's final story and leave its season 19 story, but she didn't want to, so Nathan Turner wanted to do something with K9 as he was popular, and he thought spin-off would do the trick and needed a human as a main character, so he offered Elizabeth Sladen and she accepted. Bill Cotton, who was the controller of BBC One, really liked the episode, but he soon got replaced by Alan Hart, who did not like the idea, so there were no more episodes, which is a shame, but at least we got Sarah Jane Adventures, as the concept of Sarah Jane and K9 were popular and also returned in Doctor Who, The Five Doctors and School Reunion. Fiacre Trench did the electronic theme music, which is remembered by the fans, and I really do love it. It's pretty catchy. So the feature length begins with Kate Colt going clockwise and has a photo of Lavina Smith in the newspaper. So in the living room, Lavina is giving a big box, which is for her niece Sarah Jane, for when she gets back. And she does on the next day, meeting George, and apparently her aunt Lavina is missing. So after Sarah Jane gets a phone call from Peter Tracy and Brendan, Sarah Jane met up with him at the railway station. As they're back in the house being barked at by a dog called Jasper, Sarah Jane gets a call from Juno Baker inviting her for tea, but obviously she's thinking that something isn't right, and Bill advised her not to go. So after he left, Sarah Jane and Brendan opens the box, and inside reveals to be K9 Mark III, a gift from the Doctor.
What? I am K9 Mark III.
K9 Mark III.
Affirmative.
And it's so cool to look back and seeing Sarah Jane meeting K9 for the first time. Once they get to know each other a bit, Sarah Jane has a tea at Lily Gregson. We get great banter between Brendan and K9. So Brendan picks some samples up from the garden, and eventually as he came back he gets attacked by Peter. K9 blasted Peter, so Brendan questioned him, but Peter advised Brendan to get away. So he did, while Sarah Jane meets Juno, Henry and Howard and everyone at the pub. K9 knocks the gardening stuff over. Peter and George talk to each other about K9. Brendan tells Sarah Jane what happened after when she came back. Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith, as always, amazing companion and a fantastic main character. What can I say that hasn't been said already? And John Leeson is great as K9. I do love those two characters. Ian Sears played Brendan Richards, who was once called Bray Dunn of the Terre, is a Terre native species of Thea from the Moon. He gets saved by Patricia Richards. Gillimartle plays Lily Gregson, who's the High Priestess of the Hecate cult and the postmistress of the Morton Harwood. Hecate's cult are the witch species based in Morton Harwood, and I thought they're pretty cool. Mary Wimbush plays Lavina Smith, Sarah Jane's aunt, and a world-renowned virologist. Bill Fraser plays Bill Pollock, Lavina's partner in a market garden in Morton Harwood, and the high priest of the Hecate cult. Colin Jevons played George Tracy, a manager of a market garden in Morton Harwood, and a farmer. Sean Chapman played Peter Tracy, a resident of Morton Harwood and criminal, and George's son, who got suspended sentence for breaking and entering. Linda Poland plays June Baker, who lives next to Lavina Smith and got mistaken as a villain. Neville Barber played Howard Baker, Juno's husband. John Quamby played Henry Tobias, a member of the Hecate cult and the editor of Morton Harwood Standard. Nigel Gregory and Stephen Oxley played Vince Wilson and P.C. Carter, police officer. The cast did a great job. The set, effects and music by Fiacre Trench, Ian Levine and Peter Howell are great. Next day, Sarah Jane and Brendan takes a look at the damaged greenhouse after getting complaints about K9. So later at night, Brendan gets taken away by Peter. Sarah Jane couldn't find him the next day, so she reported to the police, but they're no use. so she drops a visit to the Bakers, who think Sarah Jane isn't well. So as she left, Brendan is about to get sacrificed. So Sarah Jane and K9 arrived where he, Kate, Coults are doing the ceremony. K9 blasted them. Brendan is saved. Sarah Jane sees the familiar faces, and they get taken away by the police. So in the end, Sarah Jane, Brendan, and the Bakers are celebrating Christmas. Lavina phones Sarah Jane, and apparently she sent Sarah Jane a cable. Nothing bad happened, thankfully. We get a amusing scene where K9 is singing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So yeah, there's great ideas for the show, especially with Sarah Jane and K9 as the main characters. Sadly, it's just one episode. But like I said, at least it gave us Sarah Jane Adventures 26 years after. This episode also included in Doctor Who Season 18 Blu-ray box set.
Where are you from, K9?
From the Doctor.
From the doctor.
Affirmative.
So, what did you think of this episode? Drop your thoughts on the comments down below. Thanks people as always for watching, and see you in the next video.